Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching, much appreciated. So on my channel, I try to break down coding, useful coding things and put them into a basic format so that we can break them down piece by piece and makes it a little bit easier to understand. And then as you go on, you can build up your knowledge and thus your experience, because that's really what it's all about. Experience is having just these little moments where you learn something new, just a little tiny bit. And I know there's a lot of code videos out there, a lot of coding channels, but watch as many as you can. And if you can pick up just even just a little detail from one person and then another detail from another person, then you're winning. So you'll do okay. If all that sounds great, then please subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon so that you can get notified when I upload a new video. Because, like I've said in previous videos, my uploading schedule is a little erratic for now, but I am trying to upload more often. But I want to make sure that I give you guys some quality stuff, some fun projects, some interesting new things, much like what we're going to talk about today. So basically today what we're going to do is we're going to build a basic Redux situation with React, and we're going to use React hooks uh, in order to use the Redux store, um, which basically means we're going to use two things, two custom hooks, or not custom hooks, but two hooks. Use dispatch and use selector, which are two things that we use instead of map state to props and dispatch, map dispatch. Um, so we're going to do that. So we're going to build out a very basic Redux boilerplate, and then we're going to use that to fetch these posts from JSON placeholder. We're going to use the fetch API. We're not going to use Axios. That's, a bit much. So anyway, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to get these posts and we're going to display them, and then you can, through Redux, as I'm sure you know, you can then, use your state anywhere and you can update it from any component, because as you know, if you know anything about React, you can't pass props or state, or you can't change state from a child component up to a parent component. So Redux allows us to do that. It allows us to change the state or update the state from anywhere. So let's get started. We got a little bit to do. I am going to shut this demo down. Okay, I'm going to CD out of here. We're going to create, make dir, I'm on Windows by the way, make dir, we'll say post app. So, oh, sorry. I forgot I was doing that earlier. Okay, well, let's go in there, CD post app code dot to open it in VS Code. So basically what I have here is just I used Yarn to create React App, but you can use npx to create React App. I didn't really clean up too much. I got rid of a few things, but I mean, whatever. You can get rid of these two logos, delete. You can get rid of this test, this logo, this. I guess it's probably good that we get rid of it just so there's no confusion. I got rid of some stuff in here. We're going to get rid of this. So we just have that. We get rid of this logo here. Uh, app.cs, CSS. Get rid of all that shit. We don't need that. Save all. npm start. Oh, geez. I don't know if you guys are getting this too. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe I'm an idiot. env file. You need skip pre-flight check equals true in a .env file. npm start, and it just, I don't know. I'm getting that. If you guys are getting that, if you have a thing for that, please let me know in the comments, because I haven't been able to figure out how to avoid that without having a .env file. Um, and like I said, guys, I know there's a lot of coding channels out there. Um, Brad Travesty Media is a big influence of mine, and obviously there's plenty of them out there. But if you could just pick up, you just immerse yourself in this. If this is what you're truly passionate about, and I respect that, then you got to immerse yourself in this field and watch as many videos as you can. Um, you're not going to learn everything from one video, so maybe somebody does it one way and you pick up a little something, somebody does it another way and you pick up something there. That's just how you learn. You have to do that. And also don't forget to take action as well, because a lot of people, um, they just learn and learn and learn, and they're bookworms, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But at some point you have to step up and actually do something and say, yeah, I can do that, even if you don't know you can do it for sure. Uh, Trial by fire. Sometimes that's what you got to do. Holy crap, I don't know why this is taking so darn long. Oh, okay. Sorry, I guess it's running. I forgot there's nothing in there. So, yeah, all right. I kind of don't worry about that. All right, so we are going to need to install a couple of things. Not too many things. So actually, let me close this down. Yeah, close that down. npm I, we're going to need I'm sorry, we're going to need Redux, React Redux, and some people are confused by that. Redux is not automatic with React. Um, it's a popular combination, but they're not the same thing. So React Redux helps us. In fact, the use dispatch and use selector, that's where it comes from, is React Redux. It just helps bridge the gap. But you can use Redux anywhere. You can use it with PHP. You could use it with vanilla JavaScript. I think you can even use it with .NET and C# and stuff like that, if need be. We also need React Thunk. Oops, Thunk to make asynchronous calls. We don't really need this, but it's usually something you include. Yeah, I don't think we really need this for this application, but it's not really an application where I'm just getting you started. Again, that's what my channel is all about. It's about getting you started, and showing you where to go, and just sort of giving you a launching point so that you can then check out the documentation, and just, as long as you have the basics of how it's supposed to work, then you can take it from there. For example, today we're just doing a GET request to JSON placeholder, right? Now with this use dispatch and use selector, you can do the whole CRUD operation: create, read, which we're going to do today, update and delete everything. And with what I show you today, you'll be able to figure out how to do all those things. So consider subscribing, and I'll do more if you guys really like this. Also, soon, the website is called atomdesign.digital. I'm going to be selling complex boilerplates for React and MERN stack applications, including Redux. Um, so look out for that. Check my Twitter account, because I'll probably start announcing it on there, as well as Facebook groups, which is where I also am pretty heavy into. Be posted in there. But as of now, the website is just a WordPress site. Don't laugh at me. Shut up. WordPress is still relevant. Uh, it's atomdesign.digital. Nothing's up there yet. I just got to get everything together. I'm just going to sell boilerplates if you're interested. So like it'll be this with the whole Redux, the whole React, including all the components for create, read, update, and delete. I also have one with the entire back end set up using Node, Mongoose, Express, uh, MongoDB, all that shit. So, it's helpful, cheap. I'm not going to charge an arm and a leg for it. Um, I was also thinking about doing like a ticket service, like if you have trouble with it. But I'm not sure. Maybe if you guys think that's a good idea, let me know. Send me a comment or message me on Twitter or whatever. I'd appreciate it. Yeah, usually Redux and React Redux takes a while to install, so bear with me. Much appreciated. Let's see. Uh, there we go. It's going. It's going. It's almost there. It's going. It's going. It's going. Oh my God. Okay, here we go. We're good. So we got everything. So we got our React Redux. Bada beep, bada boop. So let's see. First thing I believe we need to do is create a store. This is how our what you call it. This is how we act like our components access it. So with Redux, this is where your state is controlled, as opposed to state level. I'm sorry, component level state, where you do hooks, where you do const data, set data, use state, and all that shit. We're not using use state. We're not using we're not even using use effect, although you can use it. But anyway, so this is where our state is going to be held and controlled. So first we have to import create store, and we also need apply middleware. Uh, Now this is a custom thing that we're going to use. You also need compose from, oops, from Redux. So this is how to create our store. We need to import thunk from Redux. Whoops, Redux thunk. Again, it's for asynchronous stuff. We need to import. Whoops. Wow. Import our root reducer, which we haven't created yet, but we will soon. Reducer from reducers, which is going to be the folder that we create soon. And we're going to put our root reducer in a index.js file so that it automatically loads that. Okay, so we're going to set our initial state, right? We're going to set it to an empty object just for the store. Then we're going to create our middleware const middle right? Yeah, middleware. Yes, thank you. Equals thunk inside of brackets. Now here's where, actually, let's export default store. Let's export our store. Oh my God, I don't know why it does that. Sorry about that. Export store. Oh my God. Sometimes these extensions are really obnoxious. You motherfucker. Store. It ain't all about extensions, let me tell you that. Const. All right, so this is our store itself. Equals create store that we brought in up here. Okay, we're going to open up an object. We're going to place in our root reducer with our initial state. Oh, that's right. And then we use compose. We open that, which is a function technically. And then we use our apply middleware. Okay. Dot, dot, dot. middleware, which is up here, which is using thunk. And then inside of that also we're going to do, I forget what it is. You don't really need this for this project, but just to show you, our Redux dev tool code. No, that's not it. It's somewhere here. I don't feel like typing it out. Come on. It's just one line of code, but it's a little tedious to just type out straight up. Come on. Where is it? Just give me the damn. Just give me the. Where the frig is it? Come on, you bastard. You're gonna make me type all this out? Yeah. Make me go to React DevTools for Dummies, sure. This is you. All right, you know what? You win. You win today, internet. So anyway, so it's window dot underscore redux. Oops. Redux dev tools underscore extension. Is that right? Or is that an S? Yeah. Extension underscore double ampersand space window dot underscore redux dev tools underscore extension underscore double parentheses. Bada beep, bada boop, that's it. If you ever wanted to type that out longhand, which I do not prefer. I think it's double for these here next to the window. I think it's double underscore, whatever. All right, so let's save that, see if we get anything. Oh, it's not running. That's fine. All right, so this is our store. So this is where our initial state is stored, right? So we have our reducer, right? Because whenever something is updated through the DOM, it gets sent to the reducer that dispatches an action, which we create, which is where our fetch or Axios or whatever it is that you're doing goes, and that's how, and then it comes back to here to our initial state, and that's what gets updated. And this is for, like I said, thunk additional stuff. All right. Cool, cool. So next what we need to do is we need to go in app.js. Okay. This should actually have import React from React. Then we need to import something called a provider, similar to React router, where you have to bring in the router and then wrap everything in that. If you've ever used that, from React, whoops. And this is where one of the places where React Redux comes into play. So this is what they've come up with. This is how we sort of wrap everything so that everything has access to the state, right? So we here provider, right? And then we just put our div, our main div, and then our other components will go in here, right? Okay, and but what we also have to do is we have to, of course, import store from dot slash store. Okay, and then we have to pass it in here. Store equals curly braces the store, right? So this store is from React Redux. This is what we created, which we brought in here. Okay, and curly braces. Cool? Yeah, I thought so. All right, now, so let's now create a folder called reducers. And inside that, we're going to create a file called index.js. And this is where we're going to create our combined reducers. Now, this is not something you would normally do for this project, but in general, this is what you want to do. So combine reducers from Redux. Cool. Now we need to import post, oops, no space, post reducers. Post reducer from post reducer. Now we haven't, oops, sorry, I forgot a dot slash. Now we haven't created this yet, but we will. And then we're just going to export those things, or that thing, I should say. Export default combine reducers. And then we're going to open up an object, and we're going to call this post. You can call this anything. Post, whoops. Yeah, sorry. Post reducer. And that's it. All right. So far we're doing okay. If we start it up, I guess we could, but we're going to get a lot of errors because, things we haven't created yet, like this post producer we haven't created yet. So that's going to give us an error, obviously. Close this one. I'll open the console. It's going to take forever to load. Yeah, see, we get a ton of errors. Sorry about that. Create storage just a function. We're still going to get an error, but at least I got that shit under control. All right, cool. So it's still going to fail. Apply middleware. Oh, I put a capital W. It should be lowercase. Because these things were importing directly from Redux. So you got to do it. Can't resolve reducers, right? Because we haven't done that yet. Let's close these puppies. Let's close this. Let's go over to our reducers file, folder, and create post. We'll create that post reducer.js. All right. Now we need to import something that we haven't created yet, but we will. Fetch posts, which is our type, and it'll make sense in a minute. Just follow along. From dot slash, this is going to be, I'm sorry, dot slash to go out of this folder into a folder called actions slash types, which we haven't created yet, but we will. Okay. Now in our post reducer, we need to create a const initial state for the reducer to use. The other initial state we created, was for the store to use. Okay, so this is an object, and we're going to put items equal to an empty array. That's all we need. Cool, cool, cool. Now we're going to export. This is our actual reducer here that we're creating. Export default. Export a default function. We're going to pass in our state, which will be equal to our initial state that we just created. Okay, and then we need to pass in an action, which is how everything is sort of categorized, right? So you have a fetch action, you have a create action, or an add action, or a update, or an edit action, or you have a delete action, or whatever, and that's how it's dealt with. So in here you could do a lot of things. You could do an if statement, but probably the best and most common one is a switch statement based on action dot type. Okay, we're gonna open up that baby and we're gonna say case fetch post, right? Then colon. Then we're gonna return something, okay, with curly braces. We're gonna return this. We're gonna iterate over the state so we get the whole thing. Then we're gonna return our items array with the action dot payload, right, which is the actual thing itself. So we're telling, once the action is dispatched, which we haven't created yet, but we will, we're now telling what we're telling the reducer what to do, what to send back to the store, and we're telling it to send back the items array with the payload that we get from the action. Redux is not easy to set up, which is why I thought creating boilerplates would be a good idea. Now, normally you would put something else here, case, add, post, or whatever, but we're not doing that now. This is just a basic setup, but we do need a default, and we're going to just return the state itself. If there's no actions, then we just return the state, and actually we can just put this all in one line. We just return state. Okay. So that is our reducer. Good. Now let's create another folder called actions. Right? Sounds dramatic. Actions. It's really not. Now we're going to create that types file that we said, types.js, and we're going to do export first. We're going to export it. Export const fetch underscore pose. Whoops. Underscore post equals fetch underscore post, a string post, a string of the same name. And that seems kind of weird, but in reality, this is just to tell the reducer which one it's going to do, right? Because it could be coming from different areas, right? Your update form, your add form, your delete button, your fetch button. So it needs to know which one it is, and that's what we're doing here. So and you could put this in your reducer, but it's just, or I'm sorry, your action or whatever. You could put it anywhere, but it's probably helpful to put it in a separate file. But that's all we need to do in this one file. Now, if you had more than one thing, which we don't in this case, you would do add post, right, equals add post like that, but we don't have that now. So that's it for that file. Okay, now the post reducers are kind of ambiguous. They always messed me up in the beginning, but really, so the reducers go to the action for an action, and then the reducers hold that action, which is this, and then they push it onto the store, which the store then pushes it on to whatever component is accessing the store, which can be all of them, or it can be one of them, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. So let's now create our post actions. Let's create a new file called post actions. Whoops, actions.js, motherfucker. Sorry. Okay, so we're going to import, sorry, not capital. Import fetch post from types again, because we need to do that again, from, right? Now this is just /types because we're in that folder. Okay. Now, here we create our action, right? Export const And we can call this whatever. We're going to call it fetch post because that makes sense. Arrow function or fat arrow function, whichever you say. And then now this is a little weird, but we need to attach a dispatch to this with another arrow function. And I know that looks weird, but that's just the way it works, and you just have to accept it. But we need to pass in a dispatch because this action needs to dispatch something, which is an action, and it needs to do something, right? It needs to dispatch the action itself to the reducer so that everything can move along the chain, right? So we're going to use fetch. So let's do our fetch API, and we're going to go to everyone's favorite trusty JSON placeholder, and we're going to get, I guess, the posts. Makes sense. Whatever. And we're going to get our URL copied. Now this would be, if you were doing Axios, you would do Axios right here. Axios, you would import Axios here, import Axios from, you know, Axios, and then you would use it down here. And then this is where you would put, and then you would do your dot then, whatever, here. Okay. Instead, of course, we're doing fetch, and we're going to do our typey code. Let me erase this before we get yet another error. Right. Now, as you know, with fetch, we need to do a dot then, right, and set it to JSON. That's what Axios does for us, or one of the things that it does for us is it automatically sets it with JSON because it assumes you're using JSON. Then what do we do? Well, we get our posts. We get the instance of posts, right? Then we come down here and we're going to, actually, let me do that. Sorry about this, guys. Sorry about this stupid thing. I can't get them off. Then we're going to use our dispatch, right, to dispatch an action. What are we going to do? So we're going to add an object, right, and we're going to say the type, remember our type is fetch post so that it knows which one it is. And then we're going to deliver the payload as our posts, right? Oh, sorry, this should be post. So whatever this is in your dot then, that's the payload. That's this. So this is still our fetch, but we're dispatching from this. And the payload, the result of this is the posts. Okay. And the same thing, you would come down here if you were having export const add post, like that equals parentheses your post data. You would pass in all the data that's being passed in from your front end. Then you would do again dispatch fat arrow here. Then you would do your fetch or your Axios your I'm sorry, your Axios.post, whatever. But I think the example I'm giving you now is sufficient. Cool. All right, so that's it. That's the majority of our. Actually, I think that is. Let's see. Cannot resolve reducers in source. Hmm. Oh, in store. Store.js. Oh, because I forgot this dot slash reducers. That's why we're getting that. Bing, bing, bing. Compiling. I resolve Redux thunk. Console log. We're console logging. Do 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 do. Okay, can I find it? Really? Module, can't find Redux thunk. Hmm. Huh. Redux reducers, right? Okay, guys, I apologize. I could have swore I included Redux thunk in there. Let's see if that fixes our issue, ladies and gents, or at least that issue. We could have more. Let's see. Unexpected default export function. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry about that. You can actually, you can call this whatever. Post reducer. That's why you get that warning. You don't have to. Function equals, sorry, not equals. That's why you get that warning. You don't have to give this a name, but you know. Okay, guys. So I just took out the dev tools. They were giving me some issues. Don't worry about it. But that's where they would go. There's also a package you can install to use them as well, and they would be up here under Redux. Whoops, not components. Sorry, Redux. And this follows your Redux store. No store found. That's because we don't have the code. Don't worry about it. Okay, so let's get to the meat and potatoes of this episode. Thank you for following along. We're going to create components as usual, components folder, right? We're going to create a new file called posts.js, right? We're going to use our RACFE for our from our snippets, code snippets, right? Now, so we have our React, obviously, and we need just a few things to import. And you're going to see how small uh, the amount of code is that we use in order to achieve this. So we need to import use dispatch, oops, and use selector from React-Redux, right? Now one more thing, we need to import our fetch posts from our actions, from our action, from dot slash actions slash post actions, right? So we need to get our dispatch. And this is what you would do if this were, you know, add posts, delete posts, edit posts, whatever. It would be the same thing. It's just that we're doing that here. Okay. Now the rest is, you won't believe how easy this shit is. And it's actually a lot of fun too because it's easy if you're like me. So what we do, so basically use selector replaces map state to props. Okay. So you don't use map state to props anymore for this. You use this use selector and it's one line of code and that's it. The use dispatch, I'm sure you could have guessed, is for dispatching the actual action, right? Okay. So we do this and we create a const. We'll call it posts for obvious reasons. And we're going to set it equal to use selector. Okay. So we're going to use that here. It's going to give us back our state, right? And then we're going to set it to state dot posts dot items, which is our which is what we had in our initial state here. So that's items. That's why that's that. Okay. So let's check that out real quick before we go any further. Console.log our post variable here. Let's see if that gives us. Let's see if that gives us anything. It should, hopefully. We did everything right. Okay. Huh. Yes. Oh, right. Duh. Because we need to import it into here. I thought of that faster this time. Usually it takes me like 20 minutes to realize that I never imported it to the main app.js file. posts. And then we're going to stick that baby right in here. Posts. Cool. All right, so now it should give us that. Bios warnings, use dispatch, and fetch post isn't used. Don't worry about that. Okay, gives us a state of the empty array, right? Which makes sense because that's the initial state, right? It doesn't have anything. So now we need to use, let me close this up. So now we need to use our dispatch, okay? So the way it works is sort of standard practice is to create a constant. Const dispatch, call it dispatch, equals use dispatch, okay? And we're going to put that fetch post in there as a function, okay? Oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. Teacher's pet, jumping ahead. So we're going to set that to use dispatch. Then we call that dispatch as a function, and this is where we pass in our fetch post function, right? And that sets this to our action to receive the payload of posts. Okay. Okay, let's see what we got here. And there we go. There's our actions. Now, of course, it's an infinite loop, so we can do, we can bring in, oops, bring in use effect, because this watches for any re-renderings. Use effect. I'm going to cut this out, this dispatch fetch posts. I'm going to do use effect, give it a fat arrow, and then I'm going to put that in there. So you can't put use dispatch directly in use effect. It'll give you an error. So you save it as a const, and then you put it in there. Okay. And this just you can do it without use effect, but it's a little safer with that. All right. Or not, whatever. Don't use that shit. I don't know. I ain't got all the answers. Oh, what's taking so long? Sorry, guys. There we go. And there's our dealios. Now let's see. Let's print them out on the screen. Okay. All right, so let's get rid of this console. So I'm going to do const data equals. Now this post here, this is our deal. This is the same as const post sep post equals use state, whatever. We don't need that anymore. We don't use any of that in here. We just use use selector and use dispatch, right? So whatever. Post, so we map through our post, which is this post.map, right? And then we get our post thing here. And we open up that, and then we could say, I don't know, div key equals post.id here, and then we'll say h3, we'll say is post.title, because that's what's in our JSON placeholder, right? See our title and our body. Who gives a shit about the ID? Then we'll come in here, give it a p tag, and we'll say post.body. Okay. And then down here, we'll do an h3, say post, and then we'll put our data const. So, whoops. Either way, you can either do all this in here or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just the way I'm doing it now. And hopefully it should give us React hooks. Don't worry about that. Actually, look. Let me take this out. Delete this use effect. Put the dispatch fetch post in there. Get rid of this use effect. And we're good. And there's all our posts, right? Bada beep, bada boop. Let's do one other thing. So that's it. So these 3 lines, that gets our information. That's our map state to props and etc. in our dispatch action. That's it. Right? So here we set we use selector to set the state to the post.items to this variable here of posts, and then we fetch the post, we dispatch the action inside here, and then we just map through it down here. Let's do something else that could be kind of fun. Just to give you another example, postcount.js, RACFE, change that to a capital. Now let's come back to our posts, and we're going to copy this whole thing, which is the only time you should copy and paste is from your own code to make it a little shorter, make it a little easier. We're going to copy all this, copy, and this is just another example. We're going to put that in there, okay? Cool. So posts, so let's open up a JSX expression, posts, oops, sorry. We'll say P, and we'll say you have this many posts. And we'll open up our JSS expression and we'll say post.length, which will give us the amount of objects in our array of posts. Oh, and then we gotta bring that into our app.js, import post count from /components/post count. And then we'll just, I don't know, we'll put it up here. We'll put it above everything else. Post count, oops, count slash. Saving, compiling. Go, good. There we go. Where the heck is it? Save and all, unless it's taking forever. Oh yeah, it's refreshing like crazy. I'm running really slow today, guys. Oh my god, just for this. Sorry, guys. Let's close that. Shut up, go away. Let me restart it just because I'm going slow. Sorry about this, guys. But I'm just trying to give you another example. So each time you wanted to use the fetch post, that's how you would bring it in. 3 lines of code, and then you do whatever you want with it, right? You know, and there you go. You have this many posts, 100, which of course we do, which is what you get from JSON placeholder. Listen, guys, that's it. Just so it's really clear, 3 lines of code, and then you do what you want with it, right? You bring in use dispatch, use selector, and then you bring in your action, and then you dispatch it. It would be the same as if it were add, right? Add posts. You would do all this same here, except this dispatch, right, would go in your on const, on submit function, right? You would do your e.prevent, right? Else. Shut up. I hate these things. You would do your oh my god, default function, and then you would do your dispatch down here, or whatever. You would create your const new post equals this title body, and there you go. And then you would dispatch your action inside the on submit, and that's it. and down here you would have your form, of course. Now, I will say the easy way for your form would be to do const title set title equals use state. I'm just showing you an example, empty, and then you would have your form down here based on this state. But you could also add that into your Redux as well, but you don't have to. All right, listen, guys, that's it. It's been a fairly long video. Thanks for sticking through it. Hopefully you got something out of it. React Redux, really, like I said, 3 lines of code and then you do what you want with it. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, leave a like, click the thumbs up button, also subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notified when I upload a new video. Uh, that's it. I'm on Twitter, Basic Coding with Adam, at Adam DiVincenzo. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Take care.